Okay, this is page 1 of day 2's guided practice. We're going to look through standards 8.2a and b. We have problem 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they are all pretty much the same. We're going to solve them the same way. So we're going to start with number 1. Number 1, which is a simplified form of the following expression? All right, so there's an easy way to do this in Desmos, and it's just going to be type it in. All right, so I'm going to go over here to Desmos. I'm going to type in exactly what I see. 4a squared b squared, parentheses, and then another set of parentheses, I have a to the third, b to the sixth, parentheses. All right, and notice again here, it asks me if I want to add sliders, and I'm going to click all. That way it gives me a number for both a and b. And remember that we cannot have a equal 1, 0, or -1. So go ahead and write this somewhere. A cannot equal 1, -1, or 0. Okay, that's very important. So I'm just going to change it, and it really does not matter what it is. It could be a decimal, it could be an integer, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to make it really tiny. That way we don't have to worry about a big number. Okay, so when I plug in just the sliders, we see we get 16,348. I'm just going to quickly jot that down. 16,348.077. Okay, so this is the number that I want to look for, all right? Because when I type these answer choices in, whichever answer choice gives me 16,348.077, that's going to be the correct answer here, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and type those in as well. I'm going to start with letter A. We have 6, a to the 5th, b to the 12th. Okay, and look at the number that it gives us. It gives us 813,584. That is not the same thing. Okay, so I'm just going to cross this one out. It's not the same as what we had here in black ink. All right, so I'm going to erase that. Well, actually, I'll leave it. I'll try the next one. 4a to the 5th, b to the 8th. 4a to the 5th, b to the 8th. That is 16,348.077. So I'm guessing that this is going to be the right answer. Letter B here. But I'm just going to double check the rest of them just to make sure. All right. Letter C is 6, a to the 5th, b to the 8th. All right, that's 24,522. That's not the same. And if I try D quickly, I have 4, a to the 5th, b to the 12th. That is a big number. That is not 16,348. All right. So I checked all my answers, and the only answer choice that is the same as 16,348 is letter B. So that's going to be our answer. Okay. Now, this 16,348, you will most likely get a different number than this. All right. I just randomly picked 1.3 and 2.4. You can pick whatever numbers you want. All right. And so if I were to change this number, see how it gives me a different number here, and it gave me different numbers down here. All right, but letter B is still the exact same. If I change this number, it changes the number that I had for my question, but it changed the numbers for all my answers too. And notice how answer choice B is still the same. Okay, so if you try one of these on your own and you get something different from your partner, that's okay, as long as you still match the question with the correct answer choice. All right. So no matter how I change these, the correct answer is still always going to be B because they are equivalent. All right. Okay. Number 2 is the exact same as number 1. You can just type this in, except when we type in X to Desmos, they don't let us evaluate. All right. So whenever we have an X, we're just going to type in an A or B or C. So I'm going to go over here to Desmos. I'm going to cancel all this stuff. Okay, and when I type this in, I'm going to type in 3 bracket parenthesis a squared. So I'm using a instead of x. Parenthesis to the third, go over bracket to the 0. Oops. To the 0. Okay, and I need to make a slider. It might not let me do it with brackets. Let's change that to parentheses. There we go. All right, so we have to have parentheses. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we have to have parentheses in order to evaluate. So I'm just going to add a slider, and I'm going to change it. And look, it doesn't change. I'm equal to 3. All right, so no matter what I do with my slider, no matter how I change A, it's equal to 3. And if I look here, 3 is an answer choice. Okay, so that was easy. But notice that we cannot put X. We have to put A. Have to put A for X here when we evaluate. So A when we evaluate. There we go. All right, so we can't use X or Y. We just need to use A or B or C. Okay. Let's go over to the Desmos check. So for number 1, the Desmos check, we would just type in exactly what we put over here on Desmos. And number 2, I have the graph here, but I think it would be better if we just had this same picture here. So why don't you just cross out this graph and somewhere on the side just write these 2 steps here. That way you can show your work and show that it does in fact equal 3. All right, and that'll be your Desmos check for number 2. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try number 3. So take about 2 minutes, pause the video and try number 3. Okay, and last one here on this page, number 4. This looks very tricky and very confusing, but it is the exact same as number 1, 2, and 3. We're going to type this into Desmos. Now, this is a big fraction, okay? So the first thing we need to do is just get that fraction bar. That way we don't have to worry about any of the parentheses. So what I did is I just pressed the divide button, and that gives me the fraction bar right away, all right? And I'm going to type in exactly what I have here, a squared c parentheses 18ab to the 4th, c squared parentheses, and in the denominator we have 24a to the 5th, b squared, c to the 7th. Okay, notice that that's exactly how we see it. If we're going to do this type of problem, we have to type it into Desmos exactly how we see it in order for it to work. I'm going to add sliders to all of them. I'm going to change until I get a nice number. Let me get a nicer number here. Let's see. We want this one to be small. There we go. All right. There's a nice number, 2.95. I'm just going to write here 2.95. All right, and we want one of these answer choices here to be 2.95. Then we know that we have the correct answer. All right, I'm going to try A. I'm going to hit the divide button to get that fraction. 3a to the 3rd, c to the 5th, and on the denominator, 4b squared. All right, and we get negative 0.52. Okay, negative 0.52. That's definitely not the answer. All right. Why don't you pause it and try B and C and D and see if you can find the correct answer? Actually, no, let's not do that because I have different A values here. You might get a different A value than 2.95. So let's go ahead and just quickly finish it together. We have fraction bar 3a squared c to the 4th divided by 4b squared. Denominator 4b squared. 0.19, that's not the same. Okay, let's try C. We have fraction bar 3b squared divided by 4a to the 3rd, c to the 5th. That is negative 1.07. That does not look to be the answer. So it must be D, but we have to check it just in case. Maybe I messed up on the first 3. We have fraction bar 3b squared divided by 4a squared c to the 4th. All right, and that is 2.95, so that is in fact our answer. All right, so for all these, we just typed into Desmos, did the sliders, and see which one of our answers matched.